All right, good morning, guys. It is Saturday morning, the May 29th. I thought I would put together a quick video. We've had some teams sign up that is going to be the first time fishing with us, and it's always good to cover the bases with as far as how the tournament works and everything like that. So I'm going to go through this as quick as possible, and then I'll post it to our YouTube channel and also all of the group pages that we belong to. All right, so the first thing and the very most important thing, when you sign up for this tournament, whether it be online or in person, you definitely want to make sure that you have the app downloaded first, and that is the Connect Scale Fishing app. It's on either Google Play or the iOS App Store, but you want to make sure that you download that app prior to coming to the lake and get signed up. The second most important thing with that is that the email that you sign up with is the email that you give me at the entry time. So that way I make sure that you are going to be connected and all your fish catches are going to count in the app and on the web-based leaderboard. All right, so I'm going to go through a few of the basics. So those are two of the most important things that I've got to have from you guys in order for this to run smooth in the mornings when we start. So Monday morning when we start, it's gonna be like clockwork. It's gonna turn on, you're gonna be ready. It's already gonna be in there. So with those two most important things, I'm gonna go through some of the things you're gonna get. And the first thing that you're gonna get from me is the package that's gonna contain your scale. The scale will have batteries in it already and should be operational. We have extra batteries that go in there. We give you some pins. We give you a paper log sheet, which I'll show you in just a minute. We also have some basic instructions on how to connect the phone, but I'm going to go over that with you here too. And then you'll get a camera and a YOLOtech. The YOLOtech goes into your anchor light port, and it charges your phone or charges the camera all day long, so that way we can record all day long. If your anchor port is not working, that's going to end up being an issue for you, because when we pick up the equipment on our own, it's your responsibility to make sure that everything is working properly. So this is the camera with a YOLOtech stick on it. And I know you're not going to be able to see this, but right above where this cord goes in, there's a light. All right, if you plug this into your anchor port and there's no green light, it's not getting power. If it's a green light, you're getting power. The other thing about the camera is the button on the side is the on button. Now, the biggest problem I have, I've got it set as default to come up to the record mode, all right, to record video. But if you hit this button more than once, you will change that mode. And I've had a lot of people that change it to either photo or time lapse. So the big important thing is that when you press this button, you press and hold it firmly. And I'll do it right here. Press and hold firmly. You'll get a series of beeps. That means it's on. If you look at the back of the screen, at the top middle, there's a little symbol that says video. If it's on anything other than this, you need to make sure that you change it to video. It will power up in video mode. But if you've let up on that button at all, or just kind of stutter stepped pressing that button, it will change the mode. Like if I just tap the button right there, I've changed it, I'm now in photo mode. We want to make sure every single time that you fire this up that it is in video mode. All right, the only other thing that you have to do, all right, you're not going to see, there's no lights on the front of this GoPro right now. When you hit record, which is the button on the top, it should start a flashing red light. That means it's recording. If you ever look back during the day and either you have a dark light or one that's solid red, it's not recording. You need to make sure that you record your entire day fishing. Every catch that I see on camera or every catch that you make, I have to be able to see it from before the hook set, through the hook set, through landing the fish, through releasing the fish. If I don't see that, it's not going to count as a fish catch. So you need to make sure that this camera is running at all times. Usually don't have too many problems. But here's the problem that I have ran into in the past. These connectors, you're going to get one with 3 of them that are on there. All right, it's got a thick threaded connector, a slip connector, and then a skinnier thread connector. Also, the set screw sometimes is either too low or too high for your particular boat. I can't set them all exactly the same because each manufacturer in each port is slightly different. This has to make a good connection all day long. And what I do is I also apply some dielectrical grease to this before we start, or before I hand out the camera. So that helps with the connection. But you want to make sure that that screw set, so if you have to change your connectors, make sure that screw is set where it is tight into your port. Because I've found once you're running around and everything and it starts bouncing, that it loses that connection, and then you quit charging your camera, and then your camera ends up dead. That typically is the only problem that I see on a regular basis, is that for some reason you lose connection to the boat and your camera quits charging. So that is something that you need to pay attention to during the day. All right, so that's enough about the GoPro. I will give you instructions when you pick up your equipment if you don't feel comfortable with it. It's relatively simple. It's 2 buttons, an on button, and then a button for the record. All right, the next thing that everybody gets, I wouldn't say confused about, but, well, let's just be honest, confused about. These scales, and this is the scale that you'll get, and this one's kind of beat up, so it doesn't actually work really well. I've taken it out of service, but the screen doesn't show up well, but we're going to go through it anyway. You'll have a locking type that you'll see on like regular MLF shows for your lip gripper. But this one is an old one, so I've got the old lip gripper on it. All right, so the phone and the scale connect together via Bluetooth. The only thing is, you have to make sure your Bluetooth is on your phone, but also that you're not pairing it in your phone settings, you're pairing it in the scale settings. All right, so this is your typical scale. If I turn on, just by pressing the on button, you're gonna see the screen light up. This usually says hello, but I don't know if you can see that very well on the camera. There should be a blue flashing, wrong side, blue flashing light right there. That means it's not connected to a phone. All right, so I'm going to connect to the phone, but I'm gonna have to change my screen so you guys can see me going into the app and doing that. And then I'll come back to this. So we're gonna go into my phone, and then we're gonna select Connect Scale, and I'm gonna go to my home screen. And I thought I deleted all these out of there, but apparently we didn't. This screen is a screen that you usually will land on. The first one that I just showed you, that's the tournament screen. That's gonna show you the tournaments that are available for you to fish. You can click on Discover Tournaments because they do have online tournaments through Connect Scale all the time. Or click on My Tournament, and it's going to bring up the one that you're registered for with us on Monday. Okay, so if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you've got Home, Events, Add Catch, Profile, and more. In the paperwork that I email to you with the link that has more paperwork with it, the profile page, which I'll click on that. If you look at that email address on there, Jeff Bunch or J Bunch at Honest Mike Outdoors, that is the email that I need you guys to send to me. This is why I ask that you take a picture of your profile page, because as I stated before, it's one of the two important things that I have to have ahead of time for this to work properly. All right, so this is your profile screen. That's going to be the email that you registered with. The catches, you don't have to worry about that. And when you get these, if you get them Sunday afternoon, you can play around with the scales. These catches are not going to show up in the tournament until the tournament starts the next morning, which it will start at 6 a.m. All right, and the other button on here, or tab at the bottom, is the More tab. That's the one we're going to go to connect the phone to the scale. All right, so if I click on Device at the top, you're going to see that I've got GoPro, the scale shut off. I've got GoPro, I got an iPhone, so it's going to pick up anything that's in Bluetooth range. It should pick up this scale here in just a second. There you go. There's a scale. So now, if I go back to my video screen, you can see, hopefully you can see, that that light right there is now not flashing, it's solid blue. All right, that means this scale is connected to the phone. Now, if I go back to the device and I go to my home screen, I'm going to go ahead and delete these out of here so that you can see what we're doing. And I promise you, I swore I deleted these before we started. Okay, I'm gonna waste too much time doing this, but there we go. Okay, so this is what your screen, if you've never used the app before or anything like that, this is what your screen's gonna look like on your home screen. All right, so if I weigh a catch, and I know you can't see me right now because I'm off camera, but I'm going to try to get this thing to lock in. There we go. Locked in at 251, and I've got the Culling app on right now. That's why you're seeing this keep, but I'll hit keep, and you'll see that your catch logs on to the app. The only other thing that I ask you guys to do is when you weigh a catch, that you turn the camera or turn the scale towards the camera and announce the weight. So I would turn the camera or turn the scale towards the camera and I would announce 251 for the weight. Now you can do this if you could go ahead and release the fish and then do this and aim it towards the camera. If the scale shuts off, you can just turn it back on, but make sure you only hit that on button one time and the weight will still be there. So my suggestion was you don't wait very long before you show the scale to the camera to show the weight. You can do it with the fish on, or you can release the fish and then do it, but that weight has to be on the screen for it to count. It will hold the screen, like if you're not going to be able to see the weight on this one because the screen's messed up, but it will hold the weight. Just make sure that you don't hit any other button like reset or anything like that. Just hit the on button one time and it will come back up and show you the weight. And it will do that. It will keep the weight until the next fish that you weigh. All right, as far as the camera and the scale function goes and weighing your fish in front of the camera, that's pretty much it for scale use. Now, we also do have the paper log, which I will show you now. So you will get a clipboard with three or four of these sheets with the log. So you want to make sure that you document your weight, your time, and then weight and time. These are 2 columns and you just fill them in both. I think they hold 17 or 18 on each column. So you can weigh in 34 fish per sheet. Now the thing about the paper log, this is a very electronic type of event. So it relies a lot on your cell phone service. So I want to make sure that 1, we keep the leaderboard up to date as much as possible. And 2, that all of your catches count. So because Rayburn is so big and sometimes cell service is so spotty, sometimes the because it uses it's web-based and it uses the information in your app and sends it to the web, that sends it to the leaderboard. Because of cell phone service, sometimes that won't go through. If it doesn't go through, it is supposed to hold that catch until you do get cell phone service and then send it. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you'll see a double catch. That's what's happened. If you see a double catch, it's held it and sent it, but it also sent it the first time. So when I'm going through and I'm scrubbing this data as it comes into me, I'll probably end up taking out, unless you're on some schooling fish, which let me discuss that real quick. All right, I originally started this out as that you could just put them in the bottom of the boat and then weigh them after the fish quit biting. However, that does not bode well for the fish. So in order to keep this more MLF style, conservation wise, you can put a legal limit of fish in your live well as you catch them. It all has to be on camera. Once you get to your limit, you have to stop fishing, both partners, and unless you're fishing alone, everybody's got to stop fishing. Both partners have to stop fishing. You have to weigh every single fish in that live well and release every single fish one at a time, and it has to be seen on camera. So don't go back to the cameras. Now, I will tell you this, the cameras are wide angle and there's not much space that you can get away with. If you've got the camera angled properly, which I will show you when you pick up your equipment, if you've got the camera angled properly, you can see everything on the back deck, front deck, and to probably about 10 to 15 foot on the side of your boat. Depends now further when you get further up the front deck. But that will keep you, it keeps everybody honest. I seriously doubt that anybody could ever cheat in this. One, because the camera picks up everything. And when I mean everything, it records too. So if you're on the back deck and that the only place that I just about can't see is where the motor's at. So if you're on the back deck and all of a sudden you come up with some fish, something's going to be fishy. And I can hear it too. So I can hear splashing. I could hear you if you had something on the back of the boat or somebody came up to you and gave you a fish, I probably would be able to hear it and see it. So it's really hard to cheat with these cameras on the boat. I don't see anybody that could do it. And if you can do it for this kind of entry fee, this is just crazy that you would even consider it, because more than likely I'm going to catch it. Okay, so enough about that. I hate talking about that part of the sport, but sometimes it is necessary to talk about it because there are some people out there that will cheat for $5. But you know, most fishermen that fish tournaments are honest and would not do anything that turn themselves in for rule violations. So, you know, and that's what I do look for when I do the cameras. I look for that you're wearing your life jackets, that you haven't done anything crazy as far as breaking rules or anything like that. What I do have a hard time seeing is the kill switch. But usually when you stand up, I can tell that the kill switch is connected. But that's really the only things I look for on the camera, and then the fish catches and verifying those and making sure everything is a go on that. All right, so this is the paper log. We'll get off of that. The texting every 2 hours of the paper log. I do request that you guys do that so that I can keep the leaderboard up to date. I already explained the cell phone signal and how it works. So it takes it from your phone, sends it across the web. Sometimes sending something via internet connection is different than sending it text. So I'm more likely to get your text paper log than if you're in a bad cell phone area versus getting the leaderboard updated that way. So texting your paper log to me, a picture of it every 2 hours, actually gives me that information and I can verify it versus the leaderboard as it is now. and make sure your catches either are there or there's no duplicates. And then I have to go in and scrub out if you weigh one that is actually under a pound. It will still count on the leaderboard, but I go back through and I scrub all those out. All right, that is pretty much what I was going to cover. I do want to mention a couple more things that have come up recently, and I think it's because of updates. And I'm going to bring up, let me bring up the email first. Okay, so when you guys get your email, down in the bottom where it says info, that if you click on that, that is a link that will take you to this page, which this page gives you all the information, what time to pick up the equipment, when I'll be there for drop off, what you need to know. And this is where I'll try to be. I know a lot of ramps are closed around Rayburn, so Castles is one of them that's open. So I would imagine it's going to be very busy. So if you look at this picture here, I will be in that area Sunday, but then Monday I will be at the pavilion in this area. I did rent the pavilion for this event. I probably shouldn't have because we usually have kind of small turnouts, but I want a centralized location that I can do this. So I will have myself or someone else will be where that X is at Monday morning, handing out your packets. So with that being said, make sure you read through all of this information. It's invaluable how much, and it also actually even does have the rules on it. It's invaluable how much this helps as far as getting everybody on the same page, getting that information that I need, and just make sure you do this. All right, one more thing, and then I will close this out. But I'll go back to the phone here. I've been running into this more, and I think it's because of some updates with Apple and the iOS, and it's also any kind of other phone, Android phone that uses the Google Play Store. In your settings, you have all of your apps, and sorry, my kids get on here a lot too, but you have all of your apps, and I'm going to pull up the Connect Scale app, because it has the settings for this app. So if you have a problem Bluetoothing to your scale in the morning, make sure you go into your settings for the app, because right here, this Bluetooth, that can be turned off. You want to make sure you're giving these permissions to your app. One, that you can use cellular data to send information. You can select the location. You don't have to. That is also one of the settings in the app itself, and you can set your location to private. Even if you didn't, the only person that would see your location in the app would be me, or Michael, who sometimes helps me run these, would be the only person. But I just want to touch this because it needs to make sure that your Bluetooth setting is on in the app settings, which is on your settings screen. I'm not a whole lot familiar with Android phones, so I don't know how you get to it there. I'm assuming it's roughly the same, but you want to make sure that it is selected there. If not, your phone or your the app will never recognize the scale, and you'll end up having problems connecting to it. Other than that, that is it. I will see you guys on either Sunday or Monday morning, preferably Sunday, because it makes it a whole lot easier for me. It gives me more time because I'm probably going to try to set up this tournament Sunday night electronically. That means in the phones, and then you'll have the tournament on your apps, just to make sure that everything is set. If you enter Monday morning It gives me a whole lot less time to make sure that information is in there. All right, so that's why when you see me posting all over Facebook, that I am looking to make sure that I get everybody entered as early as possible, because it makes everything easier on me and make sure that the tournament starts on time correctly and everybody's fish catches start at 6 a.m. If not, then I end up having issues to where some people's fish catches won't count until they actually either send me a paper log or the tournament gets set up different. When I go in and have to change the tournament out, it screws everything up. So get entered early. If you plan on entering not online, which online helps me a lot because I gather a whole lot more information. If you plan on fishing, please come out between 1 and 4 on Sunday at the Castle Boynton ramp, in the back of the ramp, or back of the parking lot where I have the X. I will be there setting people up for the tournament and handing out equipment. So if you plan on entering the tournament and you don't want to enter online, please come Sunday. It will make everything run much smoother Monday morning. That way, all I'm doing is handing out equipment Monday morning for those people that didn't come Sunday. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. I know I'm long-winded and I like to talk and I get on a tangent sometimes and I get off on other topics, but hopefully you gain some information from this video, and we can look forward to having a good tournament on Monday. All right, guys. See you.